everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's coming to you live with another quick live stream here at work. Obviously, you can tell by the background. 10 minutes over my normal setup. But before we get into it, if you guys are new, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you ring that notification bell. Because obviously, we got a lot of some stuff to talk about. Obviously, the title and the thumbnail kind of show Derek Carr got benched by the Raiders. So let's get some comments. What's good? What is good? Brandon, what's good? What's good? So, a lot of the things I want to kind of talk about is what this could have cut. One of them, what could it mean for the Raiders? One, I think one thought that I've been seeing around sort of some Raider fans that I know personally. One of the reasons why is that, are they going to really move at some point move on from that contract extension that that Derek Carr actually decided to sign? And it's just one of those things that's like, Derek Carr's not getting any younger. I think most of us, most NFL fans know that Derek Carr isn't the same as he once was. And, just, hell alone, that'd be great. But going back to what I was saying, yeah, I mean, Derek Carr has been through what? I mean, he's been in the league 9 years, went through 6 different head coaches, different coordinators and whatnot. And honestly, the season wasn't really expected to what we hyped the Raiders up to be. Especially with Derek Carr, I thought Derek Carr would actually have a better statistical season than what he's putting on. Like, to be quite honest, when we looked at the stats this year, he's got 3,522 passing yards, which is 11. So he's basically, not even borderline top 10 in passing yards. With, like I said, with 30,522. He's tied for 8th in the NFL with 24 touchdowns. Fortunately, he's at the bottom of the barrel with 14 picks. And then he's 13th in the league in QBR at 56.2. I know people say, those stats really won't mean much, but I'll say this. If you really talk about, what Carr has done so far in his 9-year career, no, he has some good statistical seasons, but it's just the team around him at times, that, just really has really shown it. And, we've seen, a lot of stuff, behind the Raiders, well, not just behind the Raiders, behind the scenes and whatnot. I think one time Carr took a little bit of shuttle shots to Josh McDaniels. I mean, we heard some frustrations with Devontae Adams and how everything's kind of been run, especially with the play calling. it's just been, I won't say a mess, but it's been confusing for the Raiders this season. Right now, going into their Week 17 game against the 49ers with a 69 record, at this point, right now, looking on the outside, looking in terms of trying to get a playoff spot. And, yeah, so unfortunately, the Raiders will be going with Jarrett Stidham. Yep, so what's good, Mike? And yeah, it's just been, I would say, I think most of us knew this was going to coming, should have been seen coming sooner rather than later. And Stidham, from what I saw so far, sometime during this time in New England, really isn't special. But I think if he can just be decent, he'll be okay. But it's just, to be quite honest, if you decide to move on from Carr, I mean, at this point, I mean, what's the best value you're going to get? A few mid-round picks, like between the second and the third, between a couple second and maybe like a third or fourth in there at the most. Because if you look at someone on his value this year, honestly, doesn't. I mean, just decent value, but not the greatest in terms of what you want out of a starting quarterback. And one of other thing is too, I mean, at times, bits and pieces of this Raiders team has not really shown to be what we had expectations for the Raiders. And Carr, as much as I know people say your quarterback's his last scapegoat, but yeah, not exactly all the time, but if you cannot get anything going with your starting quarterback, which is pretty much the most important position in football, yeah, a lot of times out of 10, you're going to be set up for success. And, the Raiders, over the 9 years that Carr has been in the league's second round pick, I mean, I think, I think the best year I think I've seen Carr actually have it this season was under Rich Bisaccia at the same time. Oh boy, but yeah, sorry about that. I had a little bit of interruption, so I apologize for that. But now back to what I was saying. To be quite frankly, Derek Carr, like I said, I don't think Derek Carr's a terrible quarterback, but I think he's somewhat above average, and I think he'd be a decent quarterback that most quarterback needy teams could use. To be quite frankly, though, it's just one of those things that's like where, how do I put this? Like he's like I said, he has questionable decision making? Absolutely. I mean, you can call his decision making sometimes into question. Oh, sorry about that again. But like I said, I'm at work right now, so just bear with me on that. So, like I said, I'm gonna spend like 10, a couple minutes or so, a little bit longer. Like I said, I'm not gonna be too much long, but like I said, with Derek Carr being benched for Jarrett Stidham, RQ, you're telling me like there's like the Raiders. Like I said, the Raiders, like we don't know exactly what direction they were going in. Same with the Patriots, but Patriots is a whole different day. It's a different story for another day. Like I said, I mean, the fact you're benching Carr for Stidham, now do I think that's going to work? I don't know. Depending on like I said, you have Josh Menendez as your head coach. I mean, Patrick Graham has really. I mean, with the defense actually. I mean, especially choking away against the Steelers on Saturday Night Football. Yikes! And the fact that and then I've seen, like I said, going back to what I said, some Raiders and the Raider Nation would kind of feel like, could this have some more like importance to let's get America what is good. So kind of talking about where, like, are they really going to move on from Carr? Or are they going to find a way to get out of that contract since they signed, I think, last year or before the season started? I could be wrong. But one of the two things, it's like you have to realize. I'm thinking it's just like if you're going to be looking in the direction of the quarterback, you guys are. I mean, the Raiders right now are on the board like top 10 with their first round pick. Knowing that some of the better quarterback prospects are going to be off the board. Instead, it's not going to be a better option long term because the dude just, for me, isn't really it. But I could be wrong. I think that's just not giving him a chance to actually kind of develop. And this is what happens when you play coming from New England, and this is where I will criticize New England too. Like the other guys, I mean, this is where like in New England a lot of times have a hard time developing quarterbacks because you only want to keep run a success with one guy. A lot of times ain't gonna work as much. And I think Carr at times, especially like I said, mentioned going through 6 different head coaches throughout his 9-year career as a second rounder. And the Raiders have had struck out on some quarterbacks in the past. I mean, I think one in particular, I think, the Raiders fans, Raider Nation doesn't at least want to forget is in 2006, where they think Jamarcus Russell won one overall, but I think it's kind of old news. But I think with Carr, being a second round pick, actually Carr got a really good career. I mean, I think has over 35,000 passing yards in his 9-year career. I mean, that's something you really can't take it away from. I mean, he has, put up some decent numbers over his year, especially this year, though. Like I said, not one of the best statistical seasons he's had. 24 touchdowns to 14 picks, a 56.2 QBR rating, and with 3,522 passing yards. And I just feel like, Carr, I think he could be better elsewhere. At least be that serviceable mentor to whatever QB teams or decide to draft a young quarterback. At least have someone like Carr, who's been around, like I said, been around the block 9 years, can have at least help develop, and just teach these young guys a few things or two. Now, I've seen people say, might go to New York, because I see, especially with what's going on with the Jets and Zach Wilson, which that'll be another story for another show. But just the way that I see it, it's just at times you're thinking to yourself like who's gonna want like a Derek Carr, I mean people say the Jets could be one of them. At least the Jets will actually have some decent weapons around them. I mean, look, Carr can do so much with some of the weapons he has. Matt Collins, Devontae Adams for sure. Waller, if he decides to stay healthy. Hunter Renfrow at the same time. Just to name a few, part of that offense. It's like at some point, like you would think with those guys like that, Waller, Renfrow, Adams, Matt Collins is your 4th receiver. And and the fact that some of these guys are not showing up. Granted, Adams is having another 1,000-yard season, which that's kind of how Adams is. The Waller extension. I think I've talked to some Raiders fans about this. There were some mixed feelings on that. At the same time, and it's just been like him and Renfrow. Well, I want to see level Renfrow injury prone, even though it's like second or third time. Someone's gonna let me know, but. Waller, on the other hand, I think he can make the argument. You would put the label with him as injury prone because dude just has not really been it for them when it comes to I think they're tight end. But in the end, you guys not really picked up the breaking news that Carr is getting benched for Jarrett Stidham, and surprisingly, and this one thing I forgot to mention, that Carr is not even backup Stidham. So with that being said, I'm going to head out of here, but I appreciate everybody that's kind of tuned in. You kind of just a bit of a quick stream, about 14, 15 minutes. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.